I'll never do rumour videos ever again. I think I said that years ago, didn't I? Whoops. I've never known a product to be this rumoured, to be talked about in videos that seemingly have nothing to do with it, and for the comment section down there just to go mad with questions about it and arguments and all. It doesn't even exist yet, and people are acting like it does exist. I appreciate that's fairly ironic, me saying that given this video, but we can't escape the fact that Apple is apparently going to be releasing a foldable iPhone this year. It could be called the iPhone Ultra, it could be called anything really, but the rumours have been pretty strong, as have the rumours that the regular iPhone 18 and the iPhone Air 2, if that exists, won't come out this year. They'll come out next year, most likely in the spring alongside the 18e. That kind of makes sense, and I'm glad of it, because from the looks of it, there's a lot of stuff coming from Apple. They've just announced a brand new Mac Mini, which I will cover on this channel, so make sure you hit subscribe not to miss that. But by the time this video goes out, I think you'll know, and I'll know, what the date is for the iPhone event. We still won't know what's in that event for a couple of weeks, but we'll have a date, I think. So with that in mind, I thought it's a good time to talk through these rumours about the iPhone Ultra. There's 7 that I've picked out, and I'd love to know your thoughts as well, because it's quite exciting, isn't it? Also, guys, and the irony of this is not lost on me, trust me, we're giving away this foldable iPhone, whatever it's called, the iPhone Ultra, whatever. We're giving one away as soon as we can get one in this studio, because who knows what the supply is going to be like, and you could win it. All you need to do is scan that QR code somewhere on this screen, or click the link in the description and join the newsletter. That's it, and you could be the proud owner of an iPhone, whatever it's going to be called, later this year. Right, let's get into the rumours. This part of the video is brought to you by Deco, and honestly, given what we've been talking about today, the timing works out pretty well. Because if you're buying a fancy new phone this year and your home network is still letting you down, dead zones in the kitchen, your phone dropping connection every time you walk upstairs, that's where the Deco BE68 by TP-Link comes in. It's a Wi-Fi 7 whole home mesh system. So instead of just one router doing its best and quietly failing, you get seamless coverage across the whole house. AI roaming means your devices follow you around without dropping a beat, and that means no more switching between Wi-Fi extender networks. On paper, the numbers are serious. Up to 14 gigabits per second across tri-band, 320 megahertz channels doubling the available bandwidth, 4 2.5 gigabits per second ports, and support for over 200 devices simultaneously. That just about covers the phones I have in my studio. Setup is really simple through the Deco app, parental controls, device prioritization, network monitoring, all in one place. It's future-proof too, which, given how fast this stuff moves, actually matters. Check that link in the description to find out more about the Deco BE68, and well, let's get back to the video. Rumour number 1, the name. Now, Mark Gurman, who is a well-known and fairly highly respected, I think, Apple rumour mill person, he's been doing it for a long time, and he does get quite a few of these things right. He does get stuff wrong, let's bear that in mind as well. But he is saying that people who work for Apple have been calling this thing the iPhone Ultra internally, which suggests it could be a code name. Because normally the actual, the marketing name, that arrives much later in the process, and quite often, from what I understand, even people who work at Apple don't know what it is until someone takes to the stage and says, here's the new, whatever it is. That suggests, as David Phelan, who is a very, very well-respected tech journalist in the UK and a good friend of mine, he pointed out that if that's the case, then it might not be where Apple lands. And equally, Phelan said that Ultra for Apple means the best of the best. So if you think of the Apple Watch Ultra or the M5 Ultra, it's the top-end chip, it's the top-end smartwatch, whereas this foldable iPhone isn't going to have all of the stuff. It's not apparently going to have Face ID. It's going to have a fairly limited camera system. Can it be an Ultra if it doesn't have that stuff? That's a very fair point from Mr. Phelan. So the name, don't bank on it being called the iPhone Ultra, which would ruin all of our graphics for the iPhone Ultra giveaway that we're doing. But anyway, it could be anything. Rumour number 2, the crease. Okay, the crease. So every foldable phone has a crease. The Oppo Find N6 has less of a crease than any other foldable phone on the market. The new Fold 8 and Fold 8 Ultra from Samsung is getting better and better. It's never bothered me. I've kind of accepted that if your phone does that, the internal display will have a divot in it. It's going to be there. You can feel it, you can see it if you think about it. If you don't think about it, it doesn't matter. The crease on the foldable iPhone, let's call it that from here, is apparently under 0.15 millimeters deep and under 2.5 degrees. No idea what that means. They're apparently using a liquid metal hinge and a custom Samsung display, of course. The frame is titanium, apparently to help with stress. I'm not sure if that's on behalf of the phone or the person using it, and it will be made from aluminium for heat dissipation and all that sort of stuff. The crease thing doesn't bother me, never has done, but I think Apple has been waiting for the technology to get to a point where the crease becomes much, much less of a thing. And it wouldn't surprise me if they either don't make a big deal about it at all, it will be one sentence in the reveal of this product, or they make a very big deal about it. I don't think it will be there's no in between. It will be very, very quickly mentioned, or an entire segment on how long they've taken to pretty much get rid of that crease. And there will be some kind of technology they've invented to make it non-creasy. Possibly. Rumour number 3, the thickness/thinness. Now, I get that wrong all the time, apparently, thick or thin. I'm not sure what you're supposed to say. I always get told off in the comments. I don't care. When open, the rumoured foldable iPhone is going to be 4.5 millimeters thick, and when closed like that, 9 to 9.5 millimeters thin, which would make it the thinnest product Apple has ever made. Does that matter? Yes, it does, because foldable phones by their very nature are thick. Well, thicker than regular phones because they are two pieces. So the thinner they are, the better. However, you do have to make some concessions there. And apparently that means Apple is not going to be putting Face ID into the foldable iPhone. We will have Touch ID on the power button, apparently. And I guess the lack of much depth when open means that the rear camera system is going to be compromised. They can't put a kind of Pro Max level camera system in there because there's not enough thickness in the chassis. I can take those concessions. I know some people can't, and if you can't, then foldable phones aren't for you at the moment. But for me, that is a sensible thing to reduce in terms of functionality. However, it does take you back to the Ultra name and the whole thing about it. How can it be an Ultra if it doesn't have those things? But we've covered that already. What's interesting is that despite the thinness, the internal selfie camera, that one there, is going to be allegedly 24 megapixels, which would be an industry first. So that suggests that Apple is going to be doing something very interesting with that camera and the big screen and the functionality there. That's quite exciting. Okay, rumour 4 is the camera system, so let's dig into that a little bit. The two lenses, apparently, on the foldable iPhone will be a 48 megapixel main camera and a 48 megapixel ultra-wide camera. No telephoto. Now, that is identical, if true, to the Z Fold 8 from Samsung. This has pretty much the same setup on here. This is just a rumour though, so it could be completely different. If it's got the ultra wide, that's important, I think. The 48 megapixel main camera needs decent or very good digital zoom. It needs to have 3, 4, or 5 times zoom, which is reliable and looks almost like optical quality zoom, because you do miss that, and Samsung has done a pretty good job on this with the round about 4 or 5 times zoom, which is digital. It does the job. It would be nice to have a 5 times optical zoom, but you don't get that at the moment, again, because it's so thin. So if the rumours about the foldable iPhone camera system are true, that's fine. People will moan about it, but you can't expect more given the type of technology we have in front of us right now. Rumour number 5 is the battery. This is very important and very interesting because for the first time ever, Samsung put a silicon kryptonite battery into its Fold 8 series, the Fold 8 and the Fold 8 Ultra. The difference between that and the battery that was in the Fold 7 is significant. It lasts longer, the standby time is ridiculous, and apparently that silicon technology is safer, it doesn't get as hot, it's longer lasting, etc., etc. The Chinese competition, such as Oppo, have been using silicon batteries batteries for quite a while now. Apple doesn't at the moment, and the rumors don't really point to them doing it with the foldable iPhone. That doesn't mean they won't. I think they should, but there's no specific rumor about that. In terms of the size of the battery, the rumors range from just under 5,000 milliamp hours to about 5,800 milliamp hours. So a very big range of potential battery sizes. But it's very hard to comment on this now because you have to get that thing in your hands and use it for a few days or a few weeks to judge the battery. But it is very important because these foldable phones do require a lot of power because you have two big displays, and not much thickness/thinness to play with. So it needs to be good. And it needs to be silicon. Let's do rumors 6 and 7 together because they're related. The first one is the price, which is going to be expensive. The RAM crisis, which is pushing the price of every piece of technology into the roof, that is having a big impact on this stuff. And equally, foldable phones aren't cheap. This is going to be an expensive phone. I think the entry-level version, which I would imagine will have 256 gig of storage, is going to be just under £2,000, I think. The top-end one, which will be, let's say, 1 terabyte, I would guess, it's going to be £2,500, isn't it? Maybe a little bit more. It's not going to be a cheap phone. The 7th rumor is the availability, and this does bother me, partly because if we're giving one away, when do we get it? I promise you will get one. So if you enter the competition by scanning that QR code or clicking that link in the description to join the newsletter and you win, I promise you'll get one at some stage. But the reason I'm saying that is because according to a lot of the rumors, there's not going to be many iPhone Ultras or foldable iPhones at launch. 500,000 to 1 million units apparently, which isn't very many for an iPhone. And there's even rumors that they might stagger the launch across regions, so US first and then Europe, UK, etc. Which I don't think that has that ever happened with an iPhone apart from the original iPhone. I don't know. It's worrying, but again, this might come down to component shortages and all that stuff. So price, it's going to be expensive, and availability, that pre-order window is going to be frantic, isn't it? It's going to be frightening. So yeah, we're in for a very, very interesting period. And this, guys, is where I pass this over to you. As always, get involved in the comments, and if you haven't hit subscribe yet, you know what to do. See you down there.